Good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups. I'm Lowell Lane, one of the organizers. I know we have a couple of new people, but if you're not familiar with 1 Million Cups, 1 Million Cups is a program put on by the Kaufman Foundation out of Kansas City, and it's an entrepreneurial education program to help support the economic of our community and help business owners have a place to go to learn and connect and help them grow their business. So today, like I said, we're technical difficulties, operator malfunction. Anyway, these are our organizers. We've got a couple changes going, but we've got a couple spots open. So we are looking for at least 2 more organizers to help us with the different things we have going on. But we couldn't do anything we do without our sponsors. And so, Union Station Delis graciously allows us to come here and use their space, and SMB and Joplin Chamber and Public Library. So we appreciate all of them. But Angie's come one at a time, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But you're in for a treat, I think, because she's got several different businesses, but she's going to be talking about Rock and Roll Cleaning Company today. So, Angie, come on.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Angela Palsrok. Thank you for having me today. As Lowell has pointed out, I do have multiple things going on. My day job is to work as a after-hours on-call coordinator for one of the local trucking outfits. Back in the day, my husband and I used to have we were owner-operators, and so I have done many, many things, worn many, many hats over my 49 years of living. But today, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my story in relation to cleaning, because this is a skill set that for the last 3.5 decades of my adult life has essentially served me in multiple platforms. So I've been a full-time student, a stay-at-home mom. I have worked in insurance. I've worked in direct patient care. I have done event coordination. I have done a lot of different things. But my work ethic got started in a military household, and cleaning was part of my day-to-day experience. It was every single day, all day. It was cleanliness was next to godliness, and as a family, we were expected to kind of keep things in order for 2 reasons. Number one, because in the military, they can come and inspect your quarters at any time. So if your house wasn't in order, that was not a good thing. But the second reason is because we moved around a lot. And when you move and you're in transition, knowing where things are and keeping them organized does make a difference. It makes it easier to pack up and go. And so I learned very early on in my life to rely upon having things organized, clean, to kind of give me a sense of purpose, right? When I moved out onto my own at the age of 18, I left home at 18 and got married, had 2 kids immediately right after. When my kids were young, I discovered that I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and my cleaning was a way for me to kind of maintain order and structure in my own house. It was not always easy to manage my obsessive compulsive disorder with, having young kids. But in 2004, my ex-husband was a truck driver. He was on the road all the time, and I was kind of dealing with life at home. And he lost his job right at the holidays. And I happened to be at Ozark Technical College in Springfield, and I was in a business program. And they said, why don't you come up with a business name, a business model? And I came up with Mom with a Mop. That was my original, because that felt like all Mom with a Mop. That was all I did was clean and pick up after kids and kind of, go to school. And I advertised in what used to be the best way to advertise, which was the penny saver. If anybody remembers the penny saver. And so, of course, it was right around Thanksgiving, and I picked up a handful of things. I was going to school full time, and I worked the business around my class schedule, and it snowballed, and it picked up, and I suddenly decided that I really liked this. This was a good thing for me to do, and it gave me the flexibility to work around my kids and go to school and still kind of have a relevant place in the community. And I did that off and on for a very long time. Over the years, cleaning has been my fail-safe. Whenever I'm feeling in chaos in my personal life, I have a tendency to kind of go back to that thing because I know I can do it and I enjoy doing it. I would say that the one element of client that I really enjoy working with are people that are in transition, people that are moving, that have had some emotional life event. I've been present at people's, major moments, right? And I've been there to help them pick up the pieces of all kinds of things. And I'm honored that I've been included in that. It does take a special kind of connection with people to be able to go in and say, okay, let's go through these 30 years of things. Let's go through your kids' stuff. Let's go through your post-divorce garage. Let's go through this together. I'm here with you, right? Sometimes it's more emotionally challenging than it is physically challenging. There have been plenty of times when I've gone to work with people and I'm just like, whew, that was rough, There have been bonds that I've built. I've had clients that have had long-term, 6 months, a year, built a lot of really close connections. And then cleaning is one of those things where after a while, it's people begin to take on more of that themselves, right? So, where I'm at with the business right now is it's kind of in flux, I do my daytime thing, or my nighttime thing, actually. It's a nighttime gig. I work overnights, that's why I was joking. I haven't actually been to bed yet. But, so I take call, on a rotating shift, and then in between that, I do a handful of other things. I also happen to have a watch store, I have a couple other things going on. But the cleaning is where I feel like I can serve my community in a way that is tangible, that's practical, and that it doesn't ever, the relevance of those skill sets never go away, right? The ability to clean and keep things organized and help people in those moments has never left me. So the biggest challenge I have right now is that because I work night shift, I tend to be very isolated. And I don't make connections. These are the kinds of things that I haven't been able to get out and do. We live in Carl Junction, and we've been there for about 5 years now. We moved in on September 11th of 2019. And, of course, right after that, COVID hit and everybody kind of shut down. And I actually ran my cleaning business during COVID. I do have a pretty astute awareness of infection protocol. As I said, I did, work in direct patient care. I'm currently in phlebotomy class right now, just like I have 5 million things going on all the time. And I do that, I think, because it's important to me to remain sharp and relevant and always have some way to serve people in some capacity. But I did do that all through COVID. And so then the irony was about 2 years later in 2022, I discovered that I have a thyroid condition, and my body decided that it was time for me to take a break. And so I did. I took a break, and I ended up focusing more on my, after hours logistics job. In fact, that's kind of what I decided to do. So I would be interested in working with people in real estate, people that know others who are in that transitionary phase. I'm really good with moving. Military brat, military spouse, so I know what it's like to pick up things very quickly and kind of put that stuff together. I'm good at packing and unpacking. So I'm multi-skilled, but I think it's just the day-to-day stuff, you know, and I was just going through my own house, and it's kind of interesting to me that I'm sure everybody has their thing, but for me, it's like cleaning the kitchen is so, like, it kind of grounds me. I really need to feel like I'm in control of my life. I just start pulling stuff off the counters and clean everything up, and it's amazing how much that makes me feel better.
You can
And
come
so,
to my house, and I'll make you feel better.
yeah, absolutely. Another element of this business that has been present from the time that I got it started, another reason that I have gravitated towards this style of business, you can probably tell, I have hearing loss. I'm pretty significantly hearing impaired. I have a 30% loss on this side. I have a 70% loss on this side. No, I do not wear hearing aids. It's been present since birth. I read lips and body language, and as a result, I have a tendency to gravitate towards things that allow me to work solo, right? Because I need that quiet, I need that one-on-one interaction, face-to-face, you know. My mom was a nurse, and I grew up learning to listen harder, you know, that's the way that I was raised. And so because of that, I have always felt very secure doing something where I'm in control of my environment. And because of the hearing loss, that's something where if I work in a busy office environment or there's a lot of background noise, I have a tendency to kind of fade into the background. And so working one-on-one with people in a cleaning environment gives me the power to be present in a way that when I'm dealing with other things, I can't be. So, do you have any questions for me?
Are you doing residential and commercial?
I have
or
done
just
both.
residential, or-
I have done both. I've had a mix of clients in the past. My favorite people to work with, like I said, are people that are either like they're moving in, moving out, they're in the middle of something, they're going through like they're cleaning out an estate, like those kinds of things are my favorite thing. Where I can do deep cleaning, intense cleaning, get it done kind of, and then maintain. I like to be that person that gets in there and kind of sets the standard. I would always set the standard very clearly at the beginning of every connection with someone. I would say, okay, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna deep clean, it's gonna take me a long time, I'm gonna pull everything out, we're gonna get all this stuff done, and then it's easier to maintain from this point forward than it is for me to come in and try and just do a little here and a little there, right? So I have worked with both residential and commercial people. Right now, I am looking to revitalize this. So this was my, I'm like, okay, I'll come back and, talk about it here and just kind of put it out into the universe. I'm here again, I'm available. So,
So, I don't want to insult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I got
good
lots of
job just like putting it out there, like for sure. Yeah, so in the past, what have you done, like besides like doing the penny saver, like what are you thinking about, like how are you gonna get the messaging out? Are you already doing like anything?
So I have a website, I do have a website up, and it does kind of give some detail, a little bit of detail about me, my background, some of the things that I've done. There are some examples of, stuff that I do, kind of a breakdown list of what I'm capable of doing, because it's just me. Historically, it's just been me, I have in the past had employees, but if you've ever had any kind of employees in this situation, it's difficult to get somebody to have the same level of passion about cleaning those toilets as it is, you know what I mean? So, and it tends to be a transition point for a lot of people. They're just like, okay, I need something very quick, and they'll do it. Even for solo providers, it tends to be transitionary. But yeah, I do have a website up, and I have business cards with a QR code on them.
And I think you should also market more as like organizing, taking care of clutter. I have a friend who has a business that's supposed to be an organizing. She's supposed to help people organize. Like she cleans out garages. She helps people pack. She unpacks a lot of people when they move in.
Oh,
But
yeah.
now it's sort of herself doing organizing, had
Wow.
enough customers to do organizing in our
Nice.
area. And I don't think that has like changed. I think
Oh,
that
no.
people are still needing that.
Well, this area
So-
has grown so much. I mean, we've
Yeah.
this was a return. I'm from the Midwest. I was born in Oklahoma and grew up in Kansas, and so my kids were born out here, and I lived in Springfield and Fairgrove, and then so coming back home to the Midwest, it's amazing how much this area has just it's grown exponentially in the last 2 to 3 years. So I have no doubt that people
Yeah. 'Cause I hear you say cleaning, and I'm like, oh, she cleans stuff. But if I
Yes.
hear you say like I'm organizing, I think those are really good key
Okay.
phrases to try to get out to.
Well, I will definitely make sure to highlight that.
And there's a lot of people that clean, but there's not a lot of people that are good at organizing, putting stuff together.
And
all that
efficiency
kind of
is I would say efficiency is my hallmark, right? Like efficiency is it's my part of my makeup,
stuff.
yeah.
Tell us about your social media. What are you doing on social media?
So I had been doing I had actually put out on like the Carl Junction Connection and the Joplin, like some I've been on. I kind of lurk now. I'm a lurker on those pages just to see. And you're correct. There was probably, last summer and the beginning of the school year, there was just a surge of people that said, I'm available to clean, I do house cleaning. And it's hard to explain because to me, like there's surface cleaning and then there's cleaning, right? Most people do surface cleaning, they just do the bare minimum, or they do what they've been taught in terms of, it's a very rudimentary thing. But there's a difference between going in and being able to say, like, this is clean, right? This is clean, this has been disinfected, this has been sanitized, right? So, but there was just, I don't know, I wanna say like 50 people or so that had posted in the Carl Junction Connection. So I took a step back at that point. I was like, because one of the big things that I don't have in this region, and it's not for a lack of trying, it's just been a lack of, missed opportunities to connect with people. It's just, I don't have a lot of people, person to person, that know me. I'm better in person than I am online, and I think I'm so Gen X, like I know how to use tech and I do have good social media awareness, but I have a tendency to be better in person than I am online. And so that translation, there's a little bit of loss there. I feel like, I did my website all by myself, and I feel like it's pretty strong in terms of, sharing what I can and can't do, but it's about driving traffic, and as we all know, that's expensive. So I haven't been advertising like on Facebook or anything else, if that's what you're getting to. I don't have like a specific, I could probably recreate my Facebook page and give people an opportunity to kind of sign up or, and I do believe in incorporating that stuff. That's one thing I didn't do in the past was like electronic payment or even booking, people could book like online. I think that's here to stay. Everybody needs to be able to book online, right? The challenge in this particular industry though, is that what I've experienced is people will say, it's just 2 bedrooms and just 2 bedrooms and that's all it is and I don't want you to do nothing else. And then you get there and it's 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and oh, by the way, they want you to do everything, right? So that's probably one of the other challenges that I think I have is that, managing those expectations very clearly, and it requires an element of going in person again. So, that was, I got really frustrated with, I had a series of customers that I had for all through 2021, 22, and then when I got, physically it became where I was working 16-hour days and I was just coming home and kind of hobbling until I got, now I'm on medication, so it does make a big difference. My energy and my physical strength have returned. But, you have customers that are like, what's going on? It's taking you, 90 minutes to do this instead of the usual, 60. So, and I didn't do a whole lot of advertising apart from word of mouth after I started to build, because in this industry, people will, if they're happy-ish, they will say, you know, hey, I know somebody, I know someone, I know this person, so.
So you said you like transition type of thing.
Yes.
So here's a suggestion.
You might transition what?
She said she liked transition type situations.
Yeah.
So I'd say one of the things you could try is all the real estate companies have meetings. And
Oh,
when they have a company meeting, they have a time allowed in there for vendors to come in and talk.
oh, okay,
And so the idea would be, hey, we're gonna have a breakfast meeting, so bring them cinnamon rolls or whatever, and, you know, feed them, cause they like that.
oh, yeah,
And then you have like 5 or 10 minutes to talk,
okay,
in person, to 30 or 40 realtors all at one time.
oh, that would be,
And
yeah,
you could say, hey, and give them a flyer or something, just say, hey, you know, you get someone moving in or moving out or wherever, I'm your lady, you know, whatever. So
Okay.
that's a one-on-one thing, and I think it'd be a lot more effective for that kind of stuff.
how do I find out about who's doing what meeting when?
Just call the real estate office
Okay,
and just say, hey, you know, I have rock and roll cleaning, and I'm a vendor, and I'd like to buy you guys breakfast for your next meeting, and see when I can get on your schedule.
I had gone with, was it Pro 100, I brought in my Accord and my card, you know, cause I carry $2 million of coverage for myself, right, you know. In fact, Johnny, and I used to work at AAA together back in the day. I did insurance as well, so I'm, you know, like I said, I'm a Jane of all trades. I have done a lot of things. I have done a lot of things, and I know, you know, it's not that, like, I started the insurance journey because when we were on the truck, my husband and I were on the truck, I wanted a way to be off the truck at home and be able to stay home longer, and I figured I could, you know, connect people over the insurance gig, 'cause insurance for specialty stuff like that is kind of hard. So I've like, there's a lot of different points of connection, but all of the things that I've done have ultimately been initiated from this learning of skills through this process of planning, so. So real estate office meetings.
Yeah.
Organizing, any other suggestions?
Yes, I would come to the Carl Junction Chamber Breakfast.
Yes.
Because you don't have to be a member to go to the breakfast, and everybody gets a minute to stand up, talk about your business and stuff. Once you're ready, I would recommend joining that chamber, and then you can have like a Facebook Live.
Oh,
You can
wow.
sponsor something that's inexpensive, those kind of things, and get your word out
Okay,
that way. And of course, you're gonna have access as a member to like Just Ask Joe and different other places. So
okay.
Are you a member of the chamber now?
I'm a member of the Joplin Chamber,
Oh.
and I had been a member of Carl Junction Chamber, but I didn't know about all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I was focused in 2020 and 21, there was literally just, I built my book of business and I worked, and then I didn't really think too long and hard about adding people because it was just me. And, you know, I didn't attend some of the stuff. I probably didn't network as well as I could have, you know, so that's what, like I said, I'm coming back to try and revitalize something and build it, because for all the things that I've learned how to do, I mean, I've got 2 college degrees, I have lots of experience in lots of different things, but ultimately what comes down to is this is a point of connection for me in a way that, like, it must be my purpose, you know, it must be my purpose ultimately for me to serve people in this way, so.
I would connect with insurance agents as well. You know, especially people that have damage, you know, that have the roof just carried torn off, or there's gonna have to clean up.
That's,
So,
yeah, that's.
But
I
they
didn't
also
think
know a lot of people.
of-
So,
Yes,
and
that's
since
true,
you have an
yeah,
insurance background,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you can connect real easy.
yeah,
But like I said, I'd just create a really nice flyer
okay,
and have that to where when you see somebody or you go into some place, say, hey, you know, I do cleaning. I'm sorry.
yes,
So I noticed, like, what kind of drew me into really like listen up was when you talked with compassion.
mm,
And so like, that's a big trigger for anybody wanting to let somebody come in their house, but they're not sure where to let them come in because they're like, oh, I need to clean it first, or I need to do this first, or it'll just be too much. And so that compassion about like understanding that sometimes it is hard to let go.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
having that kind of in the forefront, because I think that's gonna grab the people that have maybe not even thought about letting go yet,
Mhm.
that's softening.
I had a client when I very first got started, and was a good point of lesson for me, and helped me to gain some valuable insight into just how much this process can affect people. And this was a couple that they live out in, Springfield. But they had a huge home, I mean huge. It was just the two of them. And it was probably 25 years of collections, okay? Collections upon collections upon collections of stuff. And wonderful people, but the collections took over. And, and she met with me and said, do you think you can do this? When I started, I had about a 6-inch path between the main floor. And over 6 months, 3 days a week, I went in for about 4 hours a day, and we took it down. We went through stuff, and some days it was literally just me sitting with her and saying, I'm right here. Why do you need to get rid of this? Tell me why you need to get rid of this. Is this important? Are you going to reuse it again? No? Okay. Then somebody else could use it, or we can trash it. It's okay. It's replenishable, right? We can replenish these things. At the end of 6 months, I remember we were there. It was a 3-story home, attic, main level, and basement, and they were all equal floor space. Like the total floor space was around 7,000 square feet. And I worked alone through that with her. We became very, very close. And I remember one day we were down on the bottom floor just going through, and I looked around and it was like, everything was cleared out, and she stopped and we both kind of looked at each other and she says, I don't think I've seen this much of my basement ever. I don't think I've ever seen this much of my basement. Wow. This is kind of cool. Like it was a very, poignant moment. And so I do have compassion. I know exactly how to feel. I have a box in my garage. It's a green, like those, the Rubbermaid tubs. All of my kids' homework, awards, graduation stuff, it's in that box, okay? I've never been able to bring myself to organize that box. I've thought about doing shadow box stuff. I thought about like putting it together. Both of my kids are grown and flown. They're 29 and 30, right? They're out, okay. But every time I look at that box, I have this surge of emotion, right? And so I know how that feels to see things, we have a tendency like to just be like, why can't you get rid of that? Or why can't you do that? Or why can't you, right? And it's because those things are physical reminders of our lives. They're physical mementos. And especially in this region, given the history with the tornado, I would think that there are people that probably have, it's hard when you've been through that level of trauma and that level of upheaval. You do have a tendency to hold on to things, And if you've moved around a lot like I have, you have that one box, right? You hold on, you're like, this is my box. If there's a fire, I'm picking this box up. I will risk my life for this box, right? But if you've never been in that situation, if you don't know how that feels, it's hard to understand. And, before I started my own agency, I worked for Mary Maids. I'm sure you guys have heard of Mary Maids. Service Master, Molly Maids. There's a whole series of, maid companies. And what I saw in those agencies was very much a lack of compassion. It was the complete opposite. It was like, get in, get out, the appearance of clean, I heard that a lot, the appearance of clean, make it smell good, quick dust, get in, get out, fluff the pillows, but you're not really cleaning, and I was like, I can't do that, that's not who I am. So, you know, having my own company has given me an opportunity to really, like I said, serve people. But I have a tendency, because of the job that I do, and I would love to get, I took the night shift job in response to my need to take a break from the physicality of the cleaning. So now I'm ready to come back, and you know, so I would love to get off the night shift and get back to the day shift and do my, you know, outreach in the community in this way. So real estate listings, insurance office, chamber meetings, social media.
I think Alice had a really good point, and that is, you're very personable, and you can tell, like she said, you're compassionate, but you're also very, I don't know what the right word is off my head. Anyway, the point is, I think you ought to try this, and that is some little short snippet videos.
Okay, like a reel style video?
Yeah, but interviewing you kind of thing, where you're talking about either some of those stories,
Oh, okay.
or where, because I think that if
Let's do
people
a before and after of my garage.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And then also seeing like a really bad situation, and then you know, after your transformation and seeing what you did with it, stuff like that. But I think, like I said, there's cleaning companies everywhere,
There are, yeah.
but compassionate cleaning,
Yeah.
or you know, in deep cleaning, transitional cleaning,
Yeah.
you know, hit some of those words, because you stand out from everybody else.
Okay.
And you're just you. You don't have a team that's gonna come in and clean. It's
Right.
you.
Yeah.
So I think you got a real niche that you could take advantage of.
Okay.
And again, it's more of a one-on-one relation connecting.
Yes.
And I think that of those videos, people would click and connect with you, and they're like, well, maybe she can help me. You know, that kind of thing.
Oh, people are so, it is so hard. What was it, maybe 22, as I was, you know, kind of, because I had been working commercial stuff, and I would do, on the weekends, I would do a lot of commercial facilities and offices and stuff. And I finally got to the point where I said, okay, I can't do this, I've got to take a break. And I actually brought someone in to clean for me. And I gotta tell you, that was hard. It was very hard for me to do. Number one, because I think it's just human nature to be like, this is my space, don't touch that. Don't touch that, that's mine, leave that alone, right? But also because it felt like a failure for me to have to ask somebody to come in and help with that. It was like, I can't do that right now, and I need somebody else to do this for me. I've worked with a lot of people that are post-surgery, post-op, you know, respite care long-term. I've worked with, like I said, people that are in transition, you know, going through a divorce, going through some other kind of loss. Not everything has been terrible, but there's a lot of times where their lives have literally and figuratively been falling apart,
Right.
and I'm there, you know, and so it was very interesting to turn that table for myself, and it gave me some, you know, it helped me to remember that this is important, right? It is important. You are stepping into people's homes, you are in their private space. And one thing I tried to be very clear about with all my clients is I don't discuss the details of your life with anybody, you know? And that's difficult in a word of mouth business, because people were like, you know, well, I know you work with so-and-so. And then they want to talk. I'm like, yes, I do. No, we're not going to go there. I'm not going to talk about all that other stuff, right? So, you know, just building connections, and that's really my biggest challenge. So.
Yeah, I think you have to start kind of small like that. about having people schedule appointments online.
Mhm.
I don't think that's your thing.
No.
I think your thing is sitting down with one person and you like book a job and make a commitment with that one person, and then they tell another person and you're gonna have 2 more jobs because of that, and then so on and so forth. Cause you can have it scheduled online, but it seems like your business it feels different to me than that.
Yeah.
Personal.
Right.
Like you have to, like you're gonna have to take the time on the front end
Yes.
to make that, and then it's gonna like it will spiral from there. That's how I can see it happening. But
Well,
Hospice
and-
and home health. Hospice and home health patients and stuff like that. Those
Oh,
would be
yeah.
some.
I've worked with a lot of people in that situation. There used to be a website, I don't know if it's still functional in the way that I used it back in the day, called care.com. Has anybody heard of that? Care.com is a multi-function site, so if you have multiple skills, maybe you do housekeeping, but you also do pet sitting, and you also do, private nursing, and you like whatever you can do, kind of, an all-in-one under the same roof. And when I discovered them in 2012, and so I had a couple of clients that were direct care clients that definitely benefited from me being that all-in-one, circumstance where I could do private nursing and I could do, all the other stuff too. So, I have, historically, it has been very much a one-on-one kind of, thing. So it sounds to me like I just need to go find people in their pockets of
Right.
space,
Yeah, your niches, you've got those niches, so Alice just brought up another really good thing. Hospice, or some of these home health agencies, that they need someone who can really do disinfecting, really deep cleaning and so on and so forth. That'd be another great connection for you.
Or even clean outs and stuff like
yeah,
that, because sometimes when I was a home health nurse, like, we would have aides that would go in and help with household chores kind of thing, but it was nothing like what you can do.
Exactly.
Like, we wasn't even allowed to do certain things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
what's your website?
Yes, that's
It
right.
is RoK. I've got business cards here.
Oh, good. I have someone I can
Please.
give it to.
I did bring my business cards this time.
Yay.
I don't always remember.